And then there were two, India and Sri Lanka. Well, they play another final in the Asia Cup. And let's see how they go about things in a cloudy Colombo. We're moments away from the toss, but we're going to bring it all to you on this cricket.com match preview. My name's Avnish Hegde, who's slightly hungover, but look, I'm here to do my job. And there's Gurkirat and Nikhil Popat. Nikhil, I love the fact that you're always dressed in blue in a big occasion. India haven't won a multi-nation tournament in 5 years. The last time they won one was Asia Cup 2018. Can they win it today? Next, please. Come on, positively.
India-Sri Lanka 2010 final. You know what happened? You know what happened in the following World Cup. Cheers.
Oh, I love it. Can you resonate those positive thoughts, Gurkirat, on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for an Indian win. I think that India still go in as favorites despite what happened in the last game. Hoping for a complete performance like the one that was versus Pakistan in the first Super 4 fixture. If that happens, nothing like that, like it. By the looks of it, it looks like we might be in for a surprise in terms of the playing 11. Let's see what is thrown at us, because that is certainly going to let a lot of conversations flowing on our own video as well as social media.
Brilliant, or shall I say Sundar, Ati Sundar. Anyway, we'll talk about that and much more. And of course, keep your comments coming through, because this is the last preview in terms of the Asia Cup, and we'll be swimmingly moving on to the World Cup. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for the next 2 months in terms of content to give you guys from cricket.com. So like this video, subscribe if you guys are new, and of course, you guys know the drill. Follow Gurkirat and Nikhil if you guys don't already. Guys, Gurkirat, we're moments before the toss. I want to ask you straight away, put you on the spot. What will you do if you win the toss? Is it as simple as batting first? Because history suggests so.
Pretty much, yes. Win the toss and bat first, given how the conditions have been.
Okay. Next. Agreed. What was Gurkirat?
My answer is the same, no difference.
What was Gurkirat going to give me a little chutkuli on?
Yeah.
Sorry?
You were going to give me some sort of chutkuli, right?
Yeah, you chose a good game not to be there for the previews and the reviews. Good choice of games. You and
I know. I saw that. I was flattered when, like people are tweeting about me, and I was like, I'm missing someone on a Friday night. But India, Bangladesh, speaking of which, Nick, is that a bad thing that India kind of stumbled? The momentum, they can't take it to the final, or that doesn't matter?
So of all things that I've observed in the last decade, we keep learning as well with India. So we had a sponsor for learning, and that's what the team has truly believed in, that they keep learning. Sometimes the same lessons, sometimes different lessons.
Different lessons, but Gurkirat, would you be shocked if they actually play that man, Washington Sundar, today?
I'd be because purely because of the fact that this management has not been able to win uh, any multi-nation tournament so far. Last year, Asia Cup, they didn't reach the final, so winning the Asia Cup would help their critics, at least be a little silent for the ODI series that follows starting from next Saturday. Because if they lose today, doing any experimentation, then the knives will be out, and a lot of these knives have been sharpened, have been in the process of sharpening themselves since the last game. Then they did not play Virat. So yeah, I'd be surprised. I can understand the logic why they want to do that. If they do that, that also means that maybe Akshar's injury is a little more serious. But yeah, I'd still be surprised if Sundar walks into the 11.
Okay, Deepak Maduru, Santosh Urappa, good to see you. The toss is going to happen
Done.
right now. It's done
Sri Lanka
as well.
batting first.
Sri Lanka batting first. Nikhil, your first thoughts to that?
Well, good challenging chase on the cards. Hopefully, we'll hear what the captains feel about the pitch, because under lights it's done a bit. And if they slow down in terms of if the pitch slows down, we'll see what Bangladesh try to do with India. Sri Lanka will try to do the same. So keen to see their composition as well and who they are playing. And if there's a debutant, early grandly called, pick him, we'll take 3.
There's something about debutants playing against India. They always do well. I mean, you just think of all the teams in across formats. It's ridiculous. Deepak Maduru going on to say something. I was just going to ask Gurkirat, is it an obvious one to get Sundar in, or do you think people might actually think, hold on, Tilak Varma might get a game here as a third spinning option?
It's not obvious for me, because I see Akshar isn't someone who's a part of your first 11 yet. For me, the six bowling options are pretty straightforward in uh, Jasprit, Siraj, Kuldeep, Shardul, Jadeja, Hardik. As long as you have all six of them, I I'm not really open to playing anyone else. If you have those first six available, then they should play. If Tilak plays, that ideally he should also not be playing because you have the top five. You have
Exactly.
Gill, Rohit, Virat, KL, and Kishan. You might as well might as well give Kishan one more game in that middle order spot because he's not really had two good outings. So yeah, for me, any changes in the final really would be absurd.
Okay, we'll just tell you about India's changes in just a bit. I think Rohit Sharma is still having a word with Ravi Shastriata in the middle, and we'll get confirmation of that. Basically, you guys have to check out the cricket.com live blog as well on the website and the app. Next, I don't know if Deepak Maduru's comment is true because you look at how India's composition is right now, we still are kind of guessing. But it makes me ask you a question. Should India just go with their specialist bowlers instead of always kind of going in with that extra batter to be safe at 8? What do you think?
See, you just have to go with the game and not take it
Hmm.
for granted.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us eventually go by perception that five people do the job, but it doesn't happen. It's not happening. Why do we always want to go back to an ideal scenario? We don't live in one.
Hmm.
So, and with five bowlers, you know how well teams are hitting conditions. So you'll always want to have an extra depth option with both bat and ball that okay, someday if you get conditions wrong, and like India is now going to field first, you will want to have that extra cushion that okay, if it is going to do a bit more under lights, okay, we still have an extra batter. And if you're anyways bowling first, you still have the extra bowling option also, be it spin or pace. So I think that the depth with both bowling and batting is no more a luxury, it's a necessity that
Hmm.
you need that kind of an option in your rank so that you are able to compete for a longer period of time if you don't get it right in the first place. So I think that's needed. And in terms of the regular bowlers also, don't have full confidence in Hardik giving you 10 now. It's not happened for a while. And you do
Hmm.
not want to push Hardik in that regards. Had it not, the 2019 Hardik was a different in terms of bowler, in terms of fitness, he could get all 10 from him then. Now it is not happening. So there's no point pushing the wrong buttons at the wrong time.
Okay, I do think we have confirmation of the Sri Lanka team. So, Gurkita, just please react to that. Given the fact that Dushan Hemanta comes in for Teeksana, and this guy, I think, is a leg break bowler. So, again, like Nick said, do you think India should be worried about, how do you put it, an unforeseen property?
Like you said early on, debutants against India have had a knack of putting in special performances. Let's hope today is not that day. In recent times, the only debutant who I think did not really do well against India was Cameron Green in that Border Gavaskar Trophy, where he did not get a single wicket and India didn't really allow him to score a lot of runs. Hopefully, something like that on the cards. I can't comment much on the player because not seen him, so would be unfair to come up with any insight whatsoever. So I am as informed about the debutant as anyone else, except for maybe Nikhil, because I'm sure he would have seen him somewhere, maybe in the LPL. So maybe he
Yep,
can
yep.
take it over.
See,
Nick?
again, very little sample space to judge on, but someone who I feel may have a good enough time. He played a few games in the qualifiers, if I'm not wrong, but he's just played two ODIs. So there is still a lot to work on in that sense. But very keen to see how they use him because him being there also, I feel makes Velalage a very good prospect to bowl in the power play to India. And last time I thought Sri Lanka waited too long for Velalage to come in. So keen to see how the leggy bowls and where they bowl him because now if you see the bowling options that they have, it is
Hmm.
still only four proper bowling options in terms of Velalage, Hemanta, Pathirana, Rajita. So we will see for sure the Muralidharan in Asalanka again bowl with DDS trying to hold an end. And hopefully today is not the day that Muralidharan returns for India.
I just want to confirm because I know we've put Karuratne in this playing 11. I don't think he's playing, guys. So let's just revert back and figure it out. I don't think Karuratne is playing. I think Kusal
Yeah,
Jan
Kusal
Pereira.
Perera is playing.
keeps his place. So we'll just make that small correction. We apologize for that. But speaking of Sri Lanka's batters right now, I know Bumrah's back,
And
Siraj is
also,
back.
sorry,
Go
Rajitha
on.
is also not playing, and Pramod Madhushan is playing.
Prabodh Madhushan. Okay, fine. So
Yeah.
he was decent. I
Yeah.
think they got a couple of wickets over there. But
Yeah.
speaking about the Sri Lanka's batters right now, Gurkirat, Kusal Mendes, man. How do we get the guy out? Is it Bumrah nicking him off early? Is it Kuldeep? How?
Yeah, Bumrah got him to nick off early in the last game that happened. Hopefully,
Yeah,
a repeat of that. Uh, See, I really want to now see how do Bumrah and Siraj bowl when they are bowling first, because so far in this tournament there was only one game. Bumrah hasn't bowled first in this tournament so far, because in the Nepal game Bumrah wasn't there. Siraj was there. So interested to see how Bumrah goes and how it happens. And yeah, I think the bigger risk or the bigger threat right now is the number 4 and number 5, Sadira Samavikrama and Asalanka, because they've been in good form. They've batted well, and it's not like they've batted in one gear only. They have been able to accelerate when they've wanted, and they've also been able to consolidate. And last game, I thought that Sri Lanka played on that last ball. He showed great awareness. Sometimes when you are in that situation where you have to score two of one, your instinct is to find the boundary or hit it over the top. And he
yeah.
had his brains that he just found the gap and then ran three, thinking that he might get to his 50, but that didn't happen at the moment that second was completed. So I think these two would be the bigger threats in terms of batting. And DDS also ran India close in that last game. So that 4, 5, 6, if you look at their overall numbers, sometimes you feel there isn't enough. But so far, what has been happening that someone or the other has been standing up and taking Sri Lanka to a decent total or just getting them out of a jam. So yeah, today again I feel could be the same story. One thing which I feel will help India is that they've got Washington in, so they could probably look at better matchup bowling, because that left hand, right hand, Sri Lanka do have a combination which allows them to bat left hand right throughout. So could see Washi bowl a lot more today.
Oh, okay. Kushal Janat Pereira, he always scares me, Nix. Don't tell me he comes off today, because if he does, he'll take the game away from you in the nick of time.
Yeah, I'm banking on MS to take care of him. Hopefully, a good LBW early on, so that no
An
such worries.
indipper.
Because he's someone who like we saw in the last game, that he's somebody who can really just fly, just take your team to a fly. What Rohit did versus Sri Lanka in the previous encounter, he could give them the base for then the middle orders for the Sadira, Kusal, and everybody to just take it forward and have a very good launch pad towards the end. So I think new ball wickets are imperative now, even more so when you know that it is a drier deck. So you don't think it is going to get better to bat on unless something magical happens, which we don't know.
Yeah,
So it should stay like that.
yeah, the pitch report slightly confusing. Sanjay Manjrekar said it's a fresh pitch, and at the same time, Dominic Cox says it's a dry pitch. So
Yeah. So I think that the thing to note was it is a fresh pitch, but it still looked as dry as the one that they last played on. So they think it would still do. So I don't think there is much difference. Basically, I don't know why they do pitch report in the very first place. Just inform
For
this
the
on broadcast. That's
sponsors.
enough.
Yeah, for the sponsors,
Yeah, of
just a
course, of
segment,
course.
just to buy some time before the toss. By the way, cricket, Sanjay Papiguri, keep your comments coming through, whatever it is. I know you guys might be kind of chirping on a Sunday afternoon. Tanmay Agarwal, good to see you as well. Like this video and please subscribe, Tanmay. Always fascinated by your thoughts. We'll take your question and much more. But right now, I just want to allude to a couple of numbers, because we cricket.com love showing some data and stats, and some important ones, because this is a final, the Asia Cup final. And like Gurkirat said, this management hasn't won shit yet. So it's important that they get their act together. Now, India's performance in tournaments since 2014, just a reflection. Sorry, Indian fans. I hate to depict this for y'all, but that's the bare reality. Since the 2014 T20 World Cup in Sri Lanka, I think it was. Sorry, Bangladesh? Was it 2014? Was
Bangladesh,
it
Bangladesh,
Bangladesh?
Yeah,
Bangladesh.
yeah.
Till pretty
2012
much,
was Sri Lanka.
yeah, till pretty much the T20 World Cup 2022, we've just had just anguish, I think is the best way to term it that way. Remember, all of this is available on the cricket.com app if you guys need telling. I know you guys remember it like the back of your hand. And just another keen reminder, if Sri Lanka win today, they will equal India's 7-time record of winning the competition. And more fun stats like this one, for example, players with an average of 50 plus against spin and pace. There is, of course, two men featuring in that final today. Shubman Gill, who played sublimely well in that losing game against Bangladesh, but Pathum Nissanka as well. Pathum Nissanka. Why do I keep calling him Pathum? I have no idea. Right. So, guys, just a quick shout out to all you guys watching. Keep your comments coming through. Me, Gurkirat, and Nikhil will be taking them. And of course, like this video if you think India are going to win. Predictions. Let's get that out of the way so that we can just cater ourselves for questions. Nikhil, one day you'll say my opinions are right, saying Deepak Maradu. Okay, let's see what Nikhil and Gurkirat go with predictions-wise. Rohit Sharma at the toss said 240. Anything about that is a winning total. Do you guys agree? Nikhil, you first.
Yeah, it could be, and it'll just tell us how dry the surface is and the kind of grind that they expect today, which is great news for India, to be very, very honest. I don't mind India getting such games out because we saw what happened in the Bangladesh game. This is just a great chance to correct those mistakes that you did on that very day. Now you don't even have the problem of not promoting the right person because he's not playing.
So what are you going with? What's your magical number? 230?
India will actually want to keep them below 200 if in an ideal world, because again, I know we are not living in one, but just to not have any mishaps of the tail scoring, because they eventually give some runs to the tail. So hopefully around 210, 212, 212.
Okay, 212. And funnily enough, India got 213 batting first against Sri Lanka in this year's Asia Cup. So, Gurkirat, are you going to better Nikhil's, or do you think you're going to be more pessimistic from a Sri Lankan perspective?
No, I tend to agree with what Rohit said. I think 240 is the kind of total which would be par. If Sri Lanka get more than 250, 260, then I think it would be fair to say that they could be the favorites at the halfway stage because it's a dry deck and they have three spinners. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a 250 versus a 250 game. Actually, that would mean that India have been challenged quite well, and both the bowlers and batters will get challenged. So I know many would look at this, oh, we want to win the Asia Cup, etc., etc. But for me, getting that grind out, especially against spinners, is far more important. And obviously, a lot is going to change tomorrow depending upon how Washington Sundar performs. If he gets a 2 for 30 spell today, the amount of debate and discourse that will happen over the squad in the World Cup, and then could very well happen that he becomes a part of the Australia series as well. And who knows, he might just become the Vijay Shankar of 2023. I don't know. It's a possibility.
Imagine that, especially with the off spinners union
And by the way,
around the world promoting his case.
just saying, Akshar Patel being named in the World Cup squad and then being replaced is not something that hasn't
First time.
happened before. It happened in the 2021 World Cup. He was named, and then India brought in Shardul Thakur because the news was that Hardik will not bowl. So Akshar got replaced. And before that, when Akshar was named in the 2015 World Cup squad, he never got a game. So he's not. I mean, if you feel bad for Chahal that he doesn't make the World Cup squad, if Akshar gets named and gets replaced, it's worse because it would have happened for the second time with the poor guy.
And imagine, right? You're just representing your country in a World Cup. You're telling your family and friends, be like, "Ah, pakki hua hai, bhai," and then suddenly they just pull the plug and be like, "You're not in it. Sorry, sorry."
If Akshar has personality similar to yours, he would have also promised 50 people that, okay, I'll give you tickets, I'll give you that, I'll give you that.
Naughty Gurkirat. Right, let's take some questions right now. Sanjay Bharati Sarvanan, good to see you. So Iyer's still not match fit. So what do you make of it? He's very important for us. What do you make of this tournament for someone like Shreyas Iyer? Yeah? He's just had a most painful, bitter experience traveling to Sri Lanka. Gurkirat?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in his place, I am bound to be anxious because I am making a comeback after a long time. I did not play the IPL. I did not play the subsequent games that happened. I think the last game that Shreyas played was that Ahmedabad Test match where Virat got that 100. And it's not that in that series Shreyas had a good outing with the bat. That also did not happen. So if I am in Shreyas Iyer's shoes, I am anxious that I finally I finally managed to get fit, but now again the same injury is coming back, and that anxiety will, I don't know, whenever he gets a chance to play, I think it somewhere it might just get reflected, because the outside noise is not something that can always be ignored. The more he sits out and the more other replacements come and score runs, the more difficult it will get for him to then straight away walk into the 11. It has happened before. It happened when it happened when Yuvraj Singh was a part of the Test squad. He got dengue. Suresh Raina came in, scored 100 on Test match debut, and then the third Test that happened, India stuck with Suresh Raina. So that can happen. These things have happened before. So if I'm Shreyas Iyer, I am anxious about my fitness, about my place in the team, because if he loses it again, he would have lost it due to factors which are not entirely in his control.
You mentioned that he might have find it tough to get into that 11. Next, the Australia series is not too far away. Do you think he's already penciled in to that 11 to just give him more game time, because he's not been getting any game time so far?
Yeah, but then as Paji said, fitness is the first concern.
But is that a lie
Who knows?
that they just dropped him, or we're just guessing?
See,
I don't think they'll just drop him.
if it's an actual lie, or if he's been dropped, then we should watch the World Cup. As Indian fans, we should watch the World Cup without a single care in the world.
100%.
ठीक है भाई, if you are ready to drop uh, one of your mainstays in the middle order, who also provides you a decent what's the word that I'm looking for? So he's someone who really doesn't struggle against spin as much as others. You know, he had a good innings in Bangladesh also, where everyone was struggling. So if they have dropped him, then better not to have any hopes whatsoever, and just say Jai Mata Di, as Nikhil says, and watch the World Cup. कि ठीक है, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. If they have truly dropped him. But even if they had dropped him, say for one game to give KL the game time and wanted to try out Kishan, for 1 or 2 games it would have been understandable. But to not play him even in the final, it means that uh, that spasm is something
Real.
which is serious, and not just a niggle, or not just a precautionary measure.
And the back is such a susceptible area, like other parts of the body, but the back, just generally hearing stuff, sports people watching documentaries, that's one little wonderful position that you could probably say as a sports person, right? Tanmay Agarwal, sorry, I've just kept your question waiting a little bit longer, because we remember have a mid-inning show and the post-match review. So I wanted to talk about all the batting chat in the mid-innings, but because you're a nice guy and it's Sunday and I'm nice and I'm getting better with my hangover, I'll ask Nick to answer this. Nick, he goes on to say India was balancing World Cup prep and moving ahead in the tournament. Today it should be only about winning the cup, in my opinion. Middle order with players who can play spin well. Gill pushed to middle and Kohli opens.
See, I don't think you can make radical changes as big as them just very close to the World Cup, which is why I also felt playing Tilak, it gave you nothing. He could be your potential number 3 for the next decade, but one game at this point of time gives you nothing, because had he went on to score 100 and taken 3 wickets, what would you do? What would you do then? Because it's very hard to change recency bias, which is very, very evident among everybody. It's not just the people, but also the people covering and the former players. So then the noise becomes too much to ignore, as Paji also gave a good examples there. I think their 11, the top 7 is what we already know. The only query there right now is the fitness of Shreyas. And if he's fit, he definitely gets in at 4, because there is no other time left. You can't just give him the warm-up games and expect him to come off. So just keen to see who they play at 5. I think today also playing Sundar is just a stopgap arrangement, that it is conditions are such that and suddenly we of course have an update from Bastav that it is overcast suddenly. So this is just cricket, playing cricket games. So in that sense, I'm okay with Sundar just getting one game. But if Akshar is completely out, then you'll want to see how they use Sundar as well, because again, it's that number 8 spot rotation. So in this lineup, there are only 2 spots that need addressing now, number 8 and number 4. So just stick to the best potential people there and back them in their roles.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, if Sundar gets like a 3 for and then he has like a 32 not out and he gets India over the line. And then people will be like, yeah, we have to pick him for sure. By the way, I just want to ask Gurkirat Sanjay's question, because India are going to be bowling soon. And one man who will again be in the spotlight is Mohammad Siraj. Obviously, we all think right now that he's a lock-in in the starting 11. Agreed, boys, over Shami and stuff to partner Bumrah. But what does he need to do to make people like Sanjay feel like he's threatening? What does he need to do? What is his role in the team?
See, we have to understand that he's playing in Sri Lanka for the first time. He's not played there before. Probably took some time to get adjusted to the conditions, and hopefully it's just that and nothing else. Because I felt in that Pakistan game he bowled well. He bowled well in the beginning. So maybe it was just trying to figure out what are the exact lengths to bowl on these pitches, because this is the first time he's playing there. He's not played in Sri Lanka before. Any cricket, whether it's test matches or T20. So probably could just be down to that.
Okay. By the way, my producers tell me play some live visuals from Colombo. So we'll get that on the screen for you guys right now, because it's a atmosphere and a half outside the Ketarama, because our correspondent Bas Parida is there. And he said this a while ago. Let's see how it all plays out. I mean, generally, Gurkirat, I know you've been lucky and privy to watch some of the games world over, but when's your next cricket viewing in Sri Lanka? Because Gaul's a fascinating stadium, but have you ever considered going to the RPS in Colombo?
I don't know. I was actually thinking of just taking a small vacation and going there, but a lot of things did not materialize. And hopefully next time maybe we'll see something and go there, because from the people that have been to Sri Lanka, they tell me it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful island. So probably we'll make some plan around cricket and just visit there, drive around.
Next, what do you feel about Colombo? Because generally,
He's been
he
there.
tells me he's been there, right? So
Yeah, he's been there.
2015. Yeah.
Which game was it?
The third test, Pujara scores 145, carries his bat. India beat Sri Lanka in the test series for the very first time. The Damika Ishant shows what happened. Great game, very great memories of that tour. I think it's always a lovely place. It's one place where you are in a restaurant and suddenly you have Virat Kohli sitting down next to you and just having his meal. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. So that was a great experience to have. But I think eventually that's what you want to get at. Make enough money so that you can go and visit and have a club sort of that let's all watch cricket together away from India.
It's brilliant, yeah. It's honestly brilliant, and lucky you to go see that particular game and that series, because that series, I think, was Sankara's last. Is it?
Yes, the second test. The second test, he got out to Ashwin.
And Kohli was at the pomp of his captaincy in terms of like Gali Galoch and stuff, right?
It was his first series as a full-time captain.
Brilliant. Really, really remember that series. Sanjay going on to say now the reserve day makes sense. Everyone only misunderstood Jesha. He's a visionary who can look into the future. No, he's just looking at the weather forecast, Sanjay. Let's not give him more credit than he already deserves. And sorry, Mr. Jesha. Love you, by the way. On a side note, looks like the covers are coming back. Oh no, really? I'm looking at my screen. Oh shit, they are. And like Bastard gave us a little weather update as well. Pranav Anand jumping onto that Siraj conversation, Gurkirat saying Bumrah has made Siraj look ordinary, even if he drifts down. Come on. Because Bumrah set such high standards, Nicks, that everyone looks so bad. Does he have a point here, Pranav?
See, I think Siraj has been doing his bit on and off. I do agree that he's lost his line at times, and that can happen. And again, it is Bumrah. Hopefully, people will just realize how good and why Bumrah is Bumrah, and why we keep harping about Bumrah so much, that he is a different kettle of fish. To have somebody come in after an injury, not bowling an ODI, and under lights what he bowled in that game, not many people are able to do it post-injury, and even after some time from that injury. But as Sushant said, that's the worry. That is the worry.
Ridiculous. By the way, Santosh Sharma going on to say Uli Rohit goalie was also part of the 2010 Asia Cup final from both sides. Then it was Rohit's 50th game. Today it is 250th. Well done. Eja saying, what are the outcomes you should be noticing after this match, Gurkirat, in our head?
I mean, I don't.
What kind of question
If
is that?
if this question can be rephrased, I'm not really clear that.
I was just
I
like,
mean, there are
what does he
multiple
mean?
outcomes. Would really like this question to be rephrased.
I love how
No,
he
I think
puts
maybe
it
he
so
wants to just
nicely.
keep it. Okay, what are the things that we should definitely keep an eye on? Like,
Yeah,
how does
if
Sundar
that is
go?
something,
Yeah.
yeah, that is something that we discussed earlier. But if it's something result oriented, then I'm not sure what is being asked here. Would really
Okay.
like Ijaz to rephrase the question.
Yeah, it just rephrase that question before we, of course, take all your questions a little bit more, because we're extending this preview by like a couple of more minutes, given the fact the weather is just playing hide and seek out there. Pati Rana is leading wicket taker, boys. Do you think it'll finish that way, or do you think Kuldeep has a shout today? And I don't know what you guys said before the tournament started, who your leading wicket takers would be. Nix is smiling, so I know he's got the
I
right.
actually don't remember now who I called it, but I don't think it wasn't
Ah,
Kuldeep.
you went for a
So,
spinner, that I'm sure.
yeah. That's a no. It was one of Kuldeep, Hasaranga, or Shada. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's not Shada.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of Pati Rana, here's a quick stat to give you, because you look at the phases he's bowled, and predominantly in that middle overs and death is where he does his business. 5 apiece in terms of wickets, and he's just got the 1 wicket to show in the power play. And I don't think that he'll be employed that much in the power play, but let's see. But we'll talk about Pati Rana and much more in the build-up to India's second innings chase for sure, because it just makes more sense to do it then. By the way, all the comments are kind of coming through. Deepa Madura going on ask no, not this one. Yeah, outcomes. Kishan strike rate. Do we really need 3 bowling all-rounders, Gurkirat?
The Kishan strike rotation is a good point. Do we really need 3 bowling all rounders? Yes, we do, because
Sorry, that dig
Ankar
was
just
because Kuldeep was the guy that I predicted.
Yeah, I
So
thought you were
hopefully-
celebrating because the covers are firmly on.
yes, thanks.
no, we do. And what we need to realize is that we don't have 3 bowling all rounders. We have, I'd say Hardik's more of a batting all rounder, and the other 2 are bowling all rounders. And right now, given how Jadeja's batting, uh, you need that batting depth all the more, because runs have dried up for him. Hopefully, the form comes back. So, in in a sense, you could say that we are only playing 2 all rounders, which is one a batting all rounder and the other bowling all rounder. Looking at form, in combination wise, you could say 3 all rounders, but 2 of them are bowling all rounders. One is a batting all rounder.
Suchant saying, how was Washi allowed in the team? I mean, I think he means team and not tea, because if he was doing something with the tea, then obviously he's playing today and poisoning everyone. He was not even named traveling reserve. I don't know where this whole chat came up to, but it also makes me think about one comment here Ankar Bishwas has put out. So it's Akshar / Shardul / Washi / Deluxe, 4-tier options. Do you think that's how you look at it? No.
Tilak doesn't. How is Tilak coming in this
Because bro,
conversation?
people are getting animated after seeing him bowl 3 overs and be like, oh my god, we found another Raina.
It's good thing people have not seen you bowl. Otherwise, they'll say we found another Prasidh Krishna. Replace everyone. So yeah, Tilak cannot be in this conversation. With all due respect to Ankar, there, the other 3 are your potential number eights. Tilak's more of a part-time bowler. Uh, he's someone who he could ideally be your 7th bowler, and most days you should not be needing a 7th bowler, because if you're needing a 7th bowler, that means your other 5 6 have gone for a lot of runs. Tilak is primarily a batter and you expect him to bat at 3 or 4 when he gets that chance, and probably bowl those overs when you see everything else is not working or some things are not falling in place. So Tilak cannot be in this conversation.
Okay. Suchant, by the way, he goes on to say, you got the niggle for Washi to get directly into the squad and playing. Like Akshar, of course, with his hamstring.
It's not just a niggle. It was an actual injury. We saw it on the field.
No. By Chuchan, what Chuchan means is somebody messaged Tawid Ridoy that when Akshar comes out to bat, take the ball, throw where Akshar is standing, so that he gets hurt, and so that we can get Washington in the squad.
Oh my word. Santosh going to say some ridiculous things. What was Kohli doing in the Ministry Crab? I don't know. I mean, I know they showed a piece on that restaurant. I think our correspondent Bastard also went there, and there was another cricket restaurant that he checked out. But it's fascinating. I think Nick must have eaten here, but it's brilliant. If you're like a fan of seafood, for
See,
sure.
Ed, I went to Cricket Club Cafe I know
That's
what I
good.
ordered also. I'm not sharing
Yeah.
that. But here I was just sitting peacefully with a couple of people who I went with, and that's where we met Kohli in 2015. So,
Nice.
and yeah, that was not when he was vegan. I don't even know what he was going to order or eat. He was just next to me. We had a word. We clicked the photo. And the funniest story is when he clicked the photo, the guy forgot to take the photo. He was just standing there. They just doing like this, and he did not even take the photo. The moment Virat goes and we are asking him, shows the photo. Oh, dude, I didn't click only. I'm like, dude, are you serious? I
Oh
mean,
my
people will
God.
not believe, but it actually happened.
I
He
mean,
must have been
imagine
hungover. Must have been
imagine.
hungover, that guy.
Oh, don't say hangover, man. Just don't. I know you're like just taking little pot shots at me, like how this man, Santosh Urupa, is taking in the comments as well. I don't want to talk about football. It's cricket.com, Santosh. It's cricket.com. Just joking. I'm in a very angry mood since yesterday. But last question, and we'll, of course, wrap up proceedings. There's no real questions, but all you guys are champions. Comments galore. I'm sorry we haven't taken them, but of course, you can join us in the mid innings show and check out our live blog in terms of all the weather updates out there. It's honestly the best. It's the fastest. And download the app if you guys haven't already. We've got the predictions also outside the way. But before we end the preview, who's winning the Asia Cup? Because I can hold you guys hostage in 8 hours. Gurkirat, is it India or is it Sri Lanka?
Hoping it's India.
Hoping, whooping, nine. Who do you
India.
think it is? Nice. Next.
And yeah, of course, India, you'll hope that.
And it's India for me as well. We might be wearing a little bit of a heart on our sleeves and might be sentimental on a Sunday afternoon. But look, India should win it. If they don't, Sri Lanka and Asia Cup, honestly, they should just get married. Both of them. Sri Lanka as a cricket community and Asia Cup as a competition for sure. The covers are firmly intact. So I think we will give you updates as we go along on the website. So check that out. But it's been fun previewing this Asia Cup final with you, with Gurkirat and Nix. And like this video, like I keep harping upon. That's all we have time for. We'll see you in the mid innings, whenever that is. We'll, of course, keep you updated. Until then, it's a goodbye from us. And enjoy your sumptuous lunch on a Sunday.